What's going on, everyone? So I am back today, and we're going to be diving into some tabletop simulator with Quinlan Voss Red, which has been a deck that I think a lot of people have been really excited about. So we're going to give them a try. I've been playing around with this deck a little bit over the past few days, and I've had some decent experiences with him, especially with the combo aspect of the deck, which I will go over in just a moment. Before we do, big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. Part of the reason why this video exists is because of them, so thank you. We've been getting into a ton of games, chatting on the Discord. As per usual, you'll see them in a lot of my videos going forward because of, Carabas being down for the time being, so that's awesome. And also, I have a TCG player link in the description down below. Be sure to use it for all your Star Wars Unlimited card needs. Let's talk about Quinlan Red and what we're doing here. So, what are we doing with Quinlan Voss? Well, the front side is not something that I'm necessarily extremely excited about. He does get a little bit of value. You can play units that match your opponent's cost and you can deal some damage to them. That's okay. It does happen every once in a while. But really, the magic happens when you flip over to Quinlan's flip side. He's a 3/7. He's got the force tag, which is pretty nice. But anytime you play a unit that's more expensive than any unit on the opposing side of the battlefield, or equivalent in cost, you then get to deal 1 damage to a unit of your choosing, equal or less than that unit, which is really, really strong. It also pairs really nicely with red because we have Tarkentown, but not only that, because we also get to play the combo aspect of the deck alongside Force Throw, which is what we're trying to do. We have a lot of Force units in Ezra, Ahsoka Tano, Plo Koon. We have Anakin Skywalker, Kit Fisto, Mace Windu, and Quinlan Voss himself. So Force Throw has a ton of options in this deck. But we also have a lot of Republic units, okay? So we have a total of 9 turn 1 Republic units, and alongside another 3 Sabine Wrens. But we have Phase 1 Clone Trooper, R2-D2. R2-D2 is absolutely amazing in this deck, by the way. And Anakin's Interceptor, because on turn 2, we can play neither or 2 of them to set up for Anakin Skywalker or Plo Koon. And my goodness, are those cards excellent. Anakin Skywalker is just a worse Podameron in many situations, unfortunately, but it is still a 5 resource 6/6, very similar to like Zuckuss coming down. And then Plo Koon, here is where you're really impressed. Plo Koon comes down, he kills something usually that was on turn 1, and then he becomes like this 6/6 menace that you have to deal with. But also, if we flip Quinlan Voss and we play now there are 2 of them, we can actually get down things like Kit Fisto or even a Mace Windu on the same turn if he's the only unit that we have, which can be really excellent. Outside of that, of course, we're playing a bunch of kind of just mesh pieces, really solid cunning and heroism and aggression and heroism cards. The one thing that I'm a little bit curious about is if Jesse kind of fits in this deck, and I suppose we'll find out throughout the video. We are playing Sabine Wren, the new Sabine Wren that is, alongside some of the new cards for the combo potential with Kit Fisto, Plo Koon, Anakin, and of course, as I said earlier, my goodness, has R2-D2 just been absolutely amazing. It's able to filter to now there are 2 of them, and it's also been able to get down as a 2/4. It has been an excellent card. It's just one of the best glue pieces for any deck. But with all that said, let's dive into some games and see what we can do with Quinlan Red. All right, everyone. So we are into our first game of the video here. We actually just played a game before this, but I think my opponent did not actually shuffle the deck. I think that's what they mentioned. So I decided to go ahead and cut that one because that one was a little bit of a strange game. We ended up pulling out the win, but not necessarily because it was extremely powerful of a game. Couple of changes here. I'm actually going to mulligan hit this one. So let's go ahead and mulligan this and draw 2. Let's go resource this Mace Windu. Sorry, I'm thinking on the spot. And then we're going to go ahead and drop in an R2. I'll discard a Interceptor. And then we'll draw a card. We'll draw 3. Sorry, I'm thinking through this. And then I promise, we'll go ahead and put R2 or that one in my hand, the Phase 1 Clone Trooper. So as I was saying, They found out about my R2. As I was saying, a couple of different changes about the games here is I went ahead and went for a little bit of a different view because a lot of you requested it. We're going to go for a little bit more of a bird's eye view here, so it's a little bit easier for you all to see. Let me know in the comment section down below if this is something that you prefer, as well. This is definitely a little bit more strange for me, but if you all like it more, then I will definitely keep it around for the long term. So pretty interesting. Start off with the R2 attack into the 332nd Stalwart. They got the Yularen here, which is going to pump up the 332nd Stalwart. We get to go ahead and play, unfortunately not a 3 resource play, but we get to go ahead and play a phase 2 clone trooper, which doesn't actually go ahead and trigger any Quinlan Voss abilities. So kind of sad about that. They're going to still hit our base, I figured. Let's take initiative. And let's hope for maybe something that could deal with what's going on over there. So we got an Anakin, a Sabine Wren. In this stage, I like Sabine Wren significantly more than my K2, because Sabine Wren's going to be a little bit more controlling here. Let's go ahead and just start off by hitting the 332nd Stalwart yet again. Just try to get rid of as many permanents as my opponent can have, especially if they're going to try to race us or kind of ignore us and hit the base here. They got a modded cohorts. Okay. So let's see if they decide to hit the clone trooper. Okay. So they do, which is actually really nice for us because they've got 3 damage on the modded cohort, which will end up being 4. To finish it off with the Sabine Wren. So really, really nice there. They're going to go ahead and hit us for 2. They've got technically the Yularen still on the battlefield. Or Modicor on the battlefield because of Yularen, given that +1 toughness. I think there is a little bit of a complication with that one. We hit for 2. Let's draw some cards. And let's see where we end up. Plo Koon looks excellent here. I think we're just going to slam a Plo Koon here. Not really worry about anything else. I am just going to Plo Koon into Yularen. This will take 2 damage. And if they have a Plo Koon, now all their units are dead and they can't really go ahead and do a whole lot. Sanctioner's Shuttle doesn't really do anything at this stage of the game, which is really, really quite nice. Let's just go ahead and use one of our actions to go ahead and flip Quinlan Voss. And now we are in a really nice spot here. They're going to take initiative. I'm going to go ahead and deal, 9 damage. 9 damage to my opponent. And then we're going to go ahead and draw some cards. K2, now there are 2 of them. Definitely going to be a bad now there are 2 of them. Good on turn 1, but very, very poor later on in the game. I will definitely admit that. Let's just get a quick look at my opponent's hand. He's got 3 cards in hand. Looks like they accidentally flipped over a resource. A little bit of free information there. Not that that was all that relevant. Let's go ahead and just hit my opponent's base for 6. I think we could definitely outrace my opponent here. So let's go ahead and start off by hitting my opponent's base, discarding a card, and it doesn't share an aspect, no damage. So couldn't get the free 2 damage on Echo. They're going to, I believe they, so that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pretty nice. Let's go ahead and drop in, let's see, Quinlan Voss here. 3 into the base. Let's go ahead and just tap his resources since they've played the Surprise Strike and the Echo. I think we just race here. Shoot first. All right, they're going to kill my Plo Koon. Totally fine. Let's go ahead and hit their base for 2. And then we're going to drop in an Anakin. And we'll deal 1 to that guy. And then we'll finish him off with Tarkin Town. And then we'll draw 2. All right. Now I don't really see our opponent doing anything here. Just getting too much value here in terms of finishing off things that otherwise would not have died with Quinlan after he flipped. He can go ahead and capture, well, a non-leader unit, and then I'll smack the base. Doesn't matter because he's dead. That's going to be the end of the game. And GG. So pretty close one in terms of being able to really kind of cover the board. If our opponent gets down too early and too aggressively, it could be a little bit scary. So we definitely have to be careful with that. But we were able to kind of keep pace with our opponent, and R2, especially on turn one, just having a massive body, especially when our opponent's playing multiple turn one plays, is excellent. So really nice way to kind of just stay in the game throughout the entire game. And more importantly, the Quinlan Voss, when he flipped, finishing off units like that modded cohort was extremely relevant. Actually, that was finishing off the Quinlan modded cohort before he flipped. So pretty nice situation there with Quinlan Voss, and we ended up seeing some value. So let's move on to the next game. So into our next matchup against the same player over here. They're going to go ahead and dive in with a clone deserter. I have it resourced here. I'm going to resource the Spark of Rebellion, and then I'm also going to resource this Jesse. We're going to go ahead and drop in a phase 1 clone trooper. And we're going to go with this just because we're going to go and probably just trade with our opponent's units. Double turn 1 play with double clone deserter is pretty nice. We've got a force throw and an R2D2. I like R2D2, but I actually like force throw a little bit more. I'm just going to kill one of these guys, draw a card, and then unfortunately no one resource play, but ideally they get to play something here. And ooh, you Lauren. All right, well, not quite what I wanted to do. Or I wanted to see, but we're gonna get Ahsoka to hit the not quite dead, only 3 damage. As I said, not quite what I wanted to see because it leaves the clone deserter alive. And whoops, this got 30 damage on the base. Let's fix that. They're gonna trade, so we're gonna draw a card, and then I'll take initiative. So let's draw 2. And, ooh, Jesse, not exactly necessarily what I want. We can go double 2 resource play, which I do like. So let's go to resource this Jesse. And I think what we want to go for is R2 to start off. And I will discard probably the Anakin to look for some sort of nice, juicy play here. Let's draw. All right. I'll go ahead and put this into my hand. Don't really want the double Millennium Falcon. And then we will go ahead and just put all of these back into our hand. Paid 2 resources for that. And now we have a nice 2/4, which can be surprise struck for a little bit more damage. They're going to Cloud Rider hit. Nice. They're going to go ahead and get a little bit of value on their Cloud Rider. Let's go ahead and drop in the phase 1 clone trooper. So our opponent's playing a much more controlling style this time. And I'll take initiative here. We're going to hit our base for 2. And we'll see what our opponent does on the following turn. Okay, so they got 3 damage. They're deciding to hit the phase 1 clone trooper instead. We'll draw some cards. Now there are 2 of them. This is actually quite interesting because what we can do is play Quinlan Voss. Play now there are 2 of them to get a Plo Koon down for 2 resources, and then play a phase 1 clone trooper or a force throw, which actually means that I'm going to resource probably the Millennium Falcon actually. And I'm just going to use Tarkin Town here just to kill off the Yularen here, just to see if our opponent wants to go for like an ambush attack, right? Or if they want to use like a Plo Koon of their own, this will give us a little bit more value since they can't actually finish off Quinlan Voss. They probably have a Plo Koon here. Oh, there's the Plo Koon. So they're going to go ahead and hit for 4. Very nice. But we get to go ahead and play force throw on my opponent. Shoot first, huh? That's actually fine because we'll go ahead and just play. Now there are 2 of them. Force throw or a Plo Koon. We'll go ahead and hit 1 damage with Quinlan Voss and the 3 damage with Plo Koon. And then we'll just go ahead and hit their base for 3. So got to clear all their board, and they have 0 cards in hand. So let's draw some cards. Double surprise strike, double 2-drop. I'll go to resource, one of the 2 resource plays. I suppose I didn't have to. That's pretty reasonable, I'd say. Clone Commander Cody, huh? All right. Let's go ahead and drop in Sabine Wren. Now, our opponent kind of has some options here. We could make them attack us. Or we could surprise strike their Boba Fett. I think I am interested in just killing Boba Fett. That is going to be the safest play. They're going to take initiative. We're going to go ahead and surprise strike in for 6 damage. Just to use up all of our resources. And then we'll draw some cards. Ooh, Mace Windu was a pretty nice draw. We're going to resource that force throw. And that's going to just one-shot the Clone Commander Cody and actually ready up afterwards. So really, really quite like that. They've got a Freetown backup here. Are they smuggling that out? Doesn't look like it. Okay. So we'll go ahead and ambush the Clone Commander Cody. And we'll get to ready up the Mace Windu. 5 damage being dealt because of the Boba Fett action. But Mace Windu was an excellent draw here. We'll be able to kill off the Freetown backup as well. And it basically just wipes their board. Mace Windu was like the perfect draw here. So 2 damage, and we deal an additional 1 to the base with Sabine's trigger. And we'll draw 2. Double Ezra. Not going to resource anything. Don't really need to. We drew a lot of extra cards that we really got to leverage them. Now there are 2 of them coming down with the leader. Really gave us just the perfect amount of resources to kind of wipe their board, which was really, really good. And they're saying GG here. That was an amazing draw. The Mace Windu sealed the game. I think if we didn't draw the Mace Windu, it's not like the game would have been over, but I do think we would have had a lot more tricky kind of situation going on. Mace Windu is an excellent thing to draw there and really to give us a lot of value. So love that. And let's move on to the next game. All right. And now we are into the next matchup. Looks like our opponent's going to be playing the Jango Red. This is basically like the Boba Red shell from what I understand, but with Jango, of course, you get the Fett's Fire Spray still. So a little bit of interesting kind of situation to see. I'm going to go to resource that Jesse and the Phase 1 Clone Trooper. R2 is exactly what we're looking for. Even if we don't have a situation where we draw into one of our 5 drops, we still get to filter, which could potentially set up a 3 or 4 resource play if we don't want to play the Jesse, and that could look really nice. Ideally, we pick up like an Anakin or a Plo Koon that we could play on turn 2 with, and now there are 2 of them. And let's go ahead and discard the Phase 1 Clone Trooper here. Let's go ahead and figure out what we're going to grab. Awesome, we got the Anakin. And that's going to make the, now there are 2 of them. Excellent. So really, really liking our shot here. Just going to be able to drop in that Anakin Skywalker, and that's going to be an excellent option. Let's draw some cards. Another Jesse. I'm going to go and resource that. Let's go ahead and just drop in Anakin Skywalker. Nice little 6/6 on turn 2. Remember, Republic unit. You can go ahead and drop in that because of that. They could also have, now there are 2 of them, but they're going to go with the P-38. So they're going to deal 1 damage to, let's see, which one? Ooh, to R2 here, huh? Let's go ahead and just hit their base for 2. So if they decide to go ahead and, oh, never mind. I was thinking like, oh, we could just go ahead and hit their base. But with the P-38, they're going to exhaust it. So very nice. With the P-38, they're going to go ahead and finish that off. Take 1 overwhelm damage. They're going to take 2 on this guy. And then let's see if we decide to draw some cards. Yeah, I already took initiative. There we go. Spark Rebellion going to go into the... No, actually, we're going to put a Jesse into the resource pile because I'd rather go ahead and get down this R2-D2. And we're going to go ahead and discard the Mace Windu to go ahead and draw 3 or figure out what we get to pick up. There's another 2 of them. Let's go ahead and get this Surprise Strike and put the rest on bottom. Discarding the Mace Windu for a Surprise Strike. I think that was a little bit more valuable in this spot. And of course, my opponent could always have some sort of damage-based something to go ahead and hit Anakin. Let's see if they decide to exhaust Jango. I think they should. That's what I thought. So let's go ahead and play Spark of Rebellion. Yeah, Zuckuss, and Boba Fett. So we'll take a Zuckuss. Let's see if they Tarkin Town. They do. Whoops. And they're going to attack for 3, I assume. Got an Anakin's Interceptor, a Sabine Wren. I'm going to go to resource the... Do I want to resource a Surprise Strike? I think I do. Actually, I'll resource the Sabine Wren here. Not exactly the cards I want to see, but that's okay. Let's go start off with an attack for 2. I think they're just going to play a Zuckuss, but we'll see. We're going to flip over a Jango. Okay. Let's drop in the Anakin's Interceptor. See if our opponent wants to trade. I don't know if you really want to. I mean, you could. Yeah. So right now, all we know is they have a Zuckuss and a Boba Fett in hand. Let's go ahead and drop in the Quinlan Voss. They can still exhaust the Quinlan Voss, by the way, if they decide to attack it. If they do, I think that's pretty advantageous for us. Because we can go and use Surprise Strike on Jango. There's the Zuckuss. And we got an Ahsoka Tano and an Ezra. So Surprise Strike can come down and go ahead and finish off something, which would be nice. And I do think I would like to do that. So let's go ahead and do so. Let's go Surprise Strike, hit Django. And that's going to give him 3 damage. We have Target Town plus Quinlan attack to deal with Zuckuss. Or potentially an Ahsoka ambush, which could be interesting. Let's see, are they going to attack our base? Or are they going to do something else? They got 6 resources for a cunning here, huh? Ooh, okay. Well, let's drop in an Ahsoka Tano, and Cunning's going to go ahead and drop in and deal what? A lot of damage. And that's going to do some major, major work. And that's going to be game. Really, really nice one from our opponent here. The Tarkin Town really just kind of preventing the, now there are 2 of them, from really doing a whole lot of work. And, oh, whoops, I accidentally grabbed my leader. Where's Quinlan Voss? There we go. But now there are 2 of them. Getting down the Anakin was really nice, but our opponent did have the Target Town to kind of finish it off. They got to exhaust it 1 turn with Django with a P-38, which is really, really cool. And then, unfortunately for us, we couldn't really do a whole lot because it just got killed, which was a little bit unfortunate. So, a really nice one. Let's move on to the next game. Into our next matchup. Still same deck. Let's see if we can go ahead and knock it down. Pretty weak hand. No turn 1 play. Gonna go ahead and mulligan this one. If we did have a turn 1 play, I would definitely accept that. But unfortunately, we did not. That's going to be a pretty reasonable hand. I'm going to resource this Mace Windu and the Padawan's lightsaber. I like R2, certainly. I mean, you could see there in the first couple of games, they were playing a little bit of a low-cost deck, which we were able to kind of take a lot of value out of. But this one, because they're kind of all over the place, it's a little bit tougher to kind of get massive value from the Quinlan Voss ability. And I don't think we activated it, a single time? Well, I think it was a single time when we got to finish off a unit. So really no value from Quinlan Voss in that last game. Let's hope to get a little bit more in this second game. We also did get to use Tarkin Town, really. Just really have any options. They're going to go and resource a couple things. I guess I shouldn't necessarily have played out my R2 here. But, you know, they know we're going to have a turn 1 play, so. Let's see what they've got. 1, 2. No good to me dead. All right. I'll take initiative. And we're going to draw some cards. We've got Jesse, which could be interesting. I don't think Jesse is necessarily that great in this matchup, so I'm going to go ahead and resource him. I'd rather go ahead and get down a Millennium Falcon. But again, since we have initiative, if our opponent plays something here, we're not going to get the 1 damage, which is a little bit unfortunate. But I think I'd rather just, you know, get in my damage when I can. So here, let's go ahead and just attack in with a Millennium Falcon. They're going to take initiative, and we are going to, what do we want to do here? Just draw a couple cards. So let's draw our cards. We got, now there are 2 of them. Ooh, interesting. So we could go ahead and now there are 2 of them out. A Kit Fisto. Let's go ahead and return this to my hand and put down the R2-D2. And again, now there are 2 of them looking pretty interesting here. Awesome. Let's go ahead and if I play, so I can play, now there are 2 of them, get down the Kit Fisto. They can trade Tarkin Town plus the Boba. I think that's worth it. And they're going to have to use Target Town plus the Boba in order to deal with it, unless they have like a surprise strike in hand. But even so, that's a 2-card option to deal with this guy, which I think is worth it in the long run. Once again, oh, they're going to hit base. Okay. So in that case, I think I am just going to take initiative. Don't necessarily care as much about the, oh my gosh, what's it called? The 2 damage from the R2. So here, awesome, we have the Plo Koon, which is going to be an ambusher, and then we can get that coordinate settled. So we're just going to drop in the Plo Koon to kill Boba Fett. And now we have the Kit Fisto, which is going to get that 3 damage on attacks, which is really nice. If they have a damage-based something to put out, then that's totally fine. They're going to exhaust the Kit Fisto with the 1 damage. With Holdout Blaster, let's go ahead and just attack into this guy. Oops. We returned that on accident. Just grab 2 damage on R2, and we can go ahead and just finish it off with Tarkin Town. Our opponent's got 2 cards in hand, just to remember. Oh yeah, the Holdout Blaster is going to get 3 damage. lots of dice being moved around here. Tabletop Simulator can get a little bit janky sometimes. I love it. Let's see if they decide to attack and what they decide to attack should they decide to attack. They can't finish off, or they can trade with Plo Koon if they want. Okay, they're going to use the action. So we're going to go ahead and use our action. Finish off the Stormtrooper. We're going to flip our Quinlan Voss. And I would like to get an attack in with Kit Fisto here to kill off the Jango. Okay, they're going to hit the Quinlan Voss for 3, which is fine. Let's go ahead and take initiative here. I assume they're drawing a couple cards. We got a Jesse. Don't really care for Jesse. Again, not exactly the matchup where Jesse's going to do a whole lot of work. But we have another Plo Koon, which is going to work excellently. We're just going to go ahead and drop in a Plo Koon. And that's going to allow us to keep the Kit Fisto attack for any future units that they decide to play. See what our opponent's got here. Fett's Fire Spray. Sure. Oh, whoa. Didn't mean to zoom out that much. Little accidental zoom out there. We've got, I think, just a Kit Fisto attack for 7. They're going to attack for 5. We're going to attack for 2 and then a 3. And we are heavily advantaged here because we will be able to finish them off next turn. And we'll draw some cards. Got ourselves a K2, Millennium Falcon. I like resourcing this K2. I like keeping the Spark and the R2 and the Millennium Falcon because it gives us options. Right, we can go like Millennium Falcon plus R2 plus Surprise Strike if that ends up happening. They've got a Greedo. Okay, so let's go ahead and just deal 7 to their base. No on attack trigger. Just in case they have some sort of exhaust potential, right? Like if they hit an event and then they have cunning or something can go wrong where they exhaust all of our units and we can't finish off the game this turn. They can go ahead and attack for 5, but then we will be able to finish out the game. And they say GG. So really interesting one. And that one was another game where we got, now there are 2 of them, but in a little bit of a different sense, right? Again, another game where we didn't really get too much value out of the Quinlan Voss ability. So it really depends on the matchup. But still, pretty nice. Now there are 2 of them coming out. And because you're playing Cunning, you still get access to the R2s, which, my goodness, has R2 been just absolutely impressive in every single one of these games. Just been absolutely so solid. And I really do like that card. It's one of the best cards, if not the best card in the whole deck, in terms of just like how much value it provides on curve. All right, and into our third game against the Django Fett here across the battlefield. I think I'm going to keep this hand, and I think I'm just going to resource both these force throws. I like to keep, actually I'm going to keep one of the force throws. I'm going to resource one of the Anakin here. Again, R2 just looks awesome. I'm going to discard a force throw here to R2 and hopefully find either a 3-drop or maybe now there are 2 of them, so we can go Plo Koon on turn 2, which would work excellently. Target Town makes now there are 2 of them a little bit less of a game over, but, you know, something to consider. Oh, we rolled a 2. All right, so our opponent gets to go first. Not really like a best of 3, but kind of a best of 3, eh? Let's see what our opponent's got here on turn 1. Probably some sort of Stormtrooper, maybe like a crafty smuggler, maybe something like that. Ooh, take initiative. All right, so let's go ahead and play an R2. We're going to discard a force throw. And then I'm going to go ahead and look at the top 3. We get Anakin's Interceptor, Sabine Wren, Millennium Falcon, Plo Koon. I think I just want to take the Anakin's Interceptor. So not a great top 3, but I'm glad we got rid of those cards here in this spot. And drawing ourselves another Anakin's Interceptor and another Anakin. All right, so drawing all the different cards here. I think I'm just going to get down the Millennium Falcon. I think I am. And then I'll pay the extra resource to keep it around. I'm a little bit curious about whether I should or should not do that and just get down the Anakin's Interceptor, because I think I want to return it the following turn. And oh, never mind. We're gonna go ahead and certainly drop in the Millennium Falcon here. Deal 1 damage to the P-38 here. And we will just go ahead and hit their base for 3. And then we'll draw some cards. Not going to use Target Town quite yet. And unfortunately, we've drawn a 6-drop, so not exactly what we're looking for. We'll exhaust one to keep the Millennium Falcon up and running. Surprise Strike could do some work here. Again, we were really looking for like a 3-resource play, so we could just kill the P-38 for kind of free. Let's go ahead and just smack in for 3 into their base. If they play a 2-resource play, we can play our Anakin's Interceptor, deal 1 damage to it, which could be relevant. Just kind of waiting to play out my cards. Looks like they have another P-38. And let's see what they decide to do here. Deal another 2 damage to this thing and exhaust it. That's totally fine. Let's go ahead and get down an Anakin's Interceptor. Let's see if they decide to Tarkin Town. Whoa. Whoa. Let's see what our opponent does with these 2 points of damage. Interesting. They decided to sacrifice both them to Geonosis Patrol Fighter. So they get to return one of these cards to my hand and then deal 2 damage, spread how they choose across my board. Very interesting. Okay. Let's see what my opponent decides to ping R2 and Falcon. And then we'll bounce this. So let's go ahead and take initiative. And let's see if they decide to use Tarkin Town. Nope. And here I have the Jesse. I think I want to just kind of get down this Plo Koon, to be honest. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and, well, no, because I really want to, no. We're going to exhaust a resource so that I can, go ahead and hit their base for another 3. I think we're actually in advantaged here, or in an advantage spot. All right, so they're going to go ahead and drop in the Django. Let's go ahead and hit their base for 2. I think we are the aggressors here. I think I'm going to get down on Ahsoka Tano, which is why I'm making this play. Okay, they're going to deal 1 to my R2. Sure. I think I'll just go ahead and play out. Man, this doesn't quite ambush, huh? All right, let's go ahead and flip over Quinlan Voss then. Surprise strike. Sure. Let's get down on Ahsoka. They're going to hit their base for 3. And then we're going to Plo Koon them if they don't Tarkin Town. Let's see if they decide to Tarkin Town here. Even if not, we will still kill Django because of the Plo Koon ambush plus Quinlan Voss's trigger. But that was a pretty impressive kind of sequence of events for my opponent. Use a Tarkin Town. They're going to draw 2, so let's get down this Jesse. Jesse's really not that great in this matchup. Not exactly that excited for it. We're going to Plo Koon, exhaust, kill this guy. That's going to be 4 damage. That's going to wipe out Django. We still have Tarkin Town, so we can use that in combination with Ahsoka's attack to maybe clear out the board here. If they play like a Zuckuss, for example. Let's see, they've got 3 resource, 4, 5, 6. Let's see what they've got. A Fett's Fire Spray coming in. So let's go ahead and smack their base for 3. Hit us for 5. We'll take initiative. And we'll get hit for 3. All right. So let's go ahead and draw some cards. Ooh, another Ahsoka, another Kit Fisto. Let's resource one of these Kit Fistos. So they have, I mean, if they have Cunning, it's pretty bad. I think we lose. I don't know if we could beat a Cunning, to be honest. Yeah, I don't really know if Cunning is beatable here. Right, 4, 9. I suppose it doesn't really kill us, right? 7, 12. No, it does kill us. So they just can't have Cunning. And then we have a good shot at winning. Let's go and just attack for 3. Looks like they have Cunning. Yep, that's going to be game. Fett's Fire Spray coming in, and us not getting any value out of this Tarkin Town is a little bit unfortunate. But that's going to be GG. GG to our opponent. And we're moving on to the next game. Big thank you to Quackbox, by the way. He was the one we played against in the first few matches. We got a new opponent this time. We got a Saj Red. So far we are, 3 wins, 2 losses. And I have not seen a whole lot of value outside of those first original few games when our opponent had lower cost units to where we were actually able to get some of that value from that 1 damage. But we'll see. We'll see. I am not a huge fan of this hand at all. I'm going to go to mulligan this one. Whoop, what just happened there? Whoa. Must have hit the wrong button, huh? Let's go ahead and shake that back in. Drop those on my deck. And let's go ahead and draw another 6. So pretty okay hand, not exactly that exciting. Our opponent's drawing their cards, going to resource this Anakin, and I suppose suppose... Actually, I'm going to keep the Anakin just in case we end up getting the combo here. I suppose we'll resource the Force Throw and the Plo Koon. Again, R2 plus now there are 2 of them. Gets us the Anakin on turn 2, which is really nice. And that could do some major work. Let's go ahead and just drop in the R2 here. Let's go ahead and discard the K2. And then let's drop these down. Let's draw one more. There we go. Got ourselves an Ezra. I think we'll just go ahead and grab that Ezra. Not something that I think we need to think about all that much. Just grab a 3-drop. Make sure we have a 3-drop. Take initiative. And see what our opponent's got to follow that one up. Another 1-drop, of course. We got an ISB agent coming in. They got a Force Throw, so they're going to deal 1 damage here. And they're going to draw some cards, or we're going to draw some cards now. Surprise Strike, Anakin's Interceptor. We can resource one of those Interceptors. Do I want to go ahead and hit Greedo? I think I do. Our opponent's playing a bunch of 1-drops here and a bunch of events. They got Force Throw here, which is pretty nice with Asajj. Let's go ahead and kill Greedo. Just get rid of that Greedo so they can't do anything too crazy. Asajj has been really impressive, by the way. This is a little bit of a scary matchup for sure. Just waiting for my opponent to figure out what they want to do. They're going to go Surprise Strike in for 4. We're going to play an Ezra. Not too scary for us, to be honest, because I would be much more worried about some sort of more presence on the board. More presence on the board. They're going to resource. Let's see what they've got. This is the Asajj flip turn. So I think we're going to start off by just... Do I want to play Ahsoka? I think we'll just kill the ISB agent. Oh, wait, never mind. Whoops. I thought I had initiative here. My opponent was thinking. I'm so used to having the initiative. They're going to go with TIE Phantom. That's just dead. This one's dead. That one is dead. I get to play the card. And we're going to discard... I think we want to discard Ahsoka. And there's another Sabine. Let's go ahead and grab that one. Nice, another 2-drop here. And then let's put all those into our hand. They're going to flip Asajj probably, which means that they can do no first striking necessarily because they have not played an event yet, but we get to go Anakin's Interceptor here. Let's go ahead and help them out here. Let's go ahead and drop in the Anakin's Interceptor. So Anakin's Interceptor is going to do some pretty nice work against the lurking TIE Phantom. So now they have to choose. Do they want to attack with Asajj or do they want to get in this lurking TIE Phantom? Let's draw some cards. We got a Plo Koon. Nice draw there. Going to go to resource this Phase 1 Clone Trooper. And now we have a lot of different things going on. We can Plo Koon their Asajj. We can go ahead and kill off their lurking TIE Phantom with with our Interceptor. So I think we're in an excellent spot, especially since Quinlan Vos is going to come down this turn, which is going to be huge. Both myself and my opponent doing a little bit of nonsense here. I'm just stealing the initiative from him, and they're leaving their unit behind with 0 HP. I love it. They're going to sneak attack. Oh, okay. Sneak attack the B1 attack platform, huh? Okay. So pretty interesting. I think we'll just go ahead and kill the lurking TIE Phantom. Just go ahead and get that off the battlefield so they can't go ahead and hit us. Let's see what they decide to do with Asajj here. If they decide to hit the base or what. Okay, they're going to just kill that guy. Totally fine. Oh, they're going to kill Ezra instead. Okay. Let's go ahead and just drop in Plo Koon to kill Asajj. And I believe it's +1 damage for this attack, right? And then they get to choose whether or not they want to attack a unit with this guy or if they want to attack our base. They're going to attack our base. Let's go ahead and flip over our Quinlan Voss. Yet again, another situation where our Quinlan Voss has yet to do some damage. Now remember, sneak attack's going to kill the unit. And let's draw some cards. So we got a couple different options here. We can go with 2-drop, 2-drop, or 2-drop, 4-drop. I don't think we're going to play the Anakin, though. So I think that's a pretty safe resource here. I think our board is unstoppable at this point. I don't really see what our opponent can do to come back in this game. Especially with so many plays that we can make that actually will start to do damage because Quinlan is flipped at this point. Yeah, so they have 7th Fleet Defender coming in, and I think all we need to do is just drop in a Kit Fisto and deal 1 damage to the Quinlan Voss. Or deal 1 damage with the Quinlan Voss to the 7th Fleet Defender. We'll probably finish it off so that our opponent doesn't have any units available to them. Another 7th Fleet Defender. Okay. Let's just go ahead and kill one of them. Our ground force is extremely massive, so we'll just go ahead and hit for 11. And then we'll draw some cards. Jesse going to go down into the resource pile. At this stage in the game, we don't want to be giving our opponent anything to really get some value off of, even though they're just battle droid tokens. It is actually, Jesse's kind of nice because you play Jesse and then you can ping him off if you play a bunch of units, which is kind of cool. But our opponent says GG, and that's going to be game. All right, so another win for Quinlan Voss. But again, we didn't really see too much of Quinlan Voss doing anything. And I think that's an important thing to note. We didn't really get any pings. Even when we did get one of them, it's not like it was like a game-winning something that happened, right? Our opponents just kind of went ahead and got their shield removed. And yes, it kind of removed some risk, but didn't really do a whole lot. So we'll see if Quinlan Voss can actually perform a little bit better. But once we do flip him, we do get some damage in. So maybe the next game. All right, and into our next game here. Let's go to resource both these phase 2 or phase 1 clone troopers. We already mulliganed here into kind of just like an okay hand. We're going to be able to curve out, it looks like, so that can be kind of nice. And let's just start off by playing our Sabine Wren. Once again, can't go out and get any value with the Quinlan Voss because they're playing 1-drops. So let's go ahead and draw some cards here. Got ourselves a Force Throw, which could be relevant with us having Ahsoka Tano on turn 2. So I do like that. Let's go ahead and resource one of these Ahsokas before I forget. See what they decide to do. If they're just going to trade here, I think I'm pretty okay with that. We're going to be able to take initiative and then Force Throw. We're just going to deal 1 damage to Greedo and not take any damage on our Sabine, which is nice. And then we can get down Ahsoka. Ooh, they're going to triple Dark Raid. Okay, so a little bit of a complicated one here. But our opponent's basically going to probably drop their hand and then draw 7. The way this works in tabletop simulators, it's much easier to just kind of draw cards so that they can look in their hand at the cards instead of like trying to search the top cards of your deck. It's really, really annoying. So they're going to draw 7, essentially, pick 1, put it on the battlefield that costs 5 or less, and it's going to enter ready. This, to me, is extremely exciting to see. And they get a 7th Fleet Defender, which is decent, right? Not too crazy. Gets you a little bit of value, but it's just going to return to their hand, and it's essentially just dealt 3 damage to us. So now we're going to have 2 units on the battlefield when they have 0 on the Asajj flip turn, and that's going to be pretty impressive, especially since I can force throw myself to discard the Sabine Wren. So let's go ahead and just Ahsoka Tano here. And then they're going to go ahead and get in for 4 damage. So we're going to grab that initiative token, draw 2, and then the... Ooh, I do very much like that R2-D2. This goes ahead and returns to their hand. And we're off to the races here. Again, force throw, discarding Sabine, killing Asajj when she flips. Excellent play, just because of Ahsoka Tano. It's one of the reasons why Ahsoka is so interesting. But let's start off by just attacking their base for 3 with Ahsoka. Getting in for 3 points of damage. Not too bad. I don't really see... I know it seems like a little bit early to call it, but I don't really see my opponent doing a whole lot here to come back in this game. Like if they play like a Forlom, for example, we can finish it off with Sabine Wren. Ooh, they're going to daring raid us, huh? Let's just go ahead and hit their base for 3. And then, again, force throw on Sabine. We're just waiting for them to deploy Asajj. And we're going to force throw, discarding Sabine. And it's going to kill Asajj. Pretty straightforward action. They did get to draw a card with a Shadow Collective Camp, getting a little bit of a free value piece there. They got themselves a Death Star Stormtrooper, and we get to go ahead and drop in an R2-D2, discard the Surprise Strike, and pick of the top 3. Now there are 2 of them, not exactly all that relevant. We're going to go ahead and grab... let's go ahead and just put these ones face down, and then put this on top. Got ourselves an Anakin's Interceptor. And then they're going to take initiative. We're going to draw some cards. Now there are 2 of them going to go to the resource pile. Not exactly great at this stage of the game. And I mean, Sabine Wren's going to be able to take out the Stormtrooper. Or that could happen. Let's go ahead and just get down Quinlan. It's going to give so many different more options when we play this K2SO to deal a damage to something. If they don't have a 5-drop, then we can deal damage to something and go ahead and Tarkin Town it away. So that's pretty nice. Well, they have a 5 resource play, unfortunately. They're going to go ahead and hit the Ahsoka Tano. And we're going to go ahead and Tarkin Town. Finish off the Bosk. They're probably going to take initiative here. See what they've got. They do have 3 cards in hand. Maybe they have a 0-cost play. And let's go ahead and attack them for 5 and then play out a K2. Draw 2 cards. And that's an Anakin and a Kit Fisto. So really nice options for us. We got 2 expensive plays. I do like the Kit Fisto here to come down and just become this massive threat that your opponent really can't ignore, which is really nice. So love that. And they're going to say GG, and I'll say GG back. So honestly, Asajj coming down, absolutely wrecking her. One of the big things is not having that next extra point of power, or not going ahead and kind of deploying a threat and a threat and a threat. Ends up being a little bit risky, and going with like triple dark raid or things like that can be a lot weaker, simply because you don't have that really nice option of getting a curve out, and that's really important when you have such an early to deploy leader. Of course, we had an amazing answer to Asajj with a 1 resource answer, which is nice. All right, so what did we learn with Quinlan Red today? Well, I honestly wasn't super impressed with Quinlan Voss himself. In terms of front side, at least. As I mentioned in the beginning part of the video, I didn't really expect to getting a ton of value, but I did actually expect more than we got. I think in some of those games we might have used him like 1 time. I think in the Django Fett 3-part games, I think we literally got 1 use out of Quinlan's front side. So really, really mediocre. But when you do flip him over, he does get a lot of value overall. And we were able to see like the Mace window coming down and completely wiping an opponent's board with Now There Are Two of Them, which was excellent. We did see the Now There Are Two of Them with Plo Koon and Anakin Skywalker. We saw Sabine Red get a good amount of value. And we just saw the whole deck really functioning. But the best card that was in our deck, and I said this many, many times how good this card is, was R2-D2 by a large margin. There was many times where he was able to filter for Now There Are Two of Them. There were many times when he was just a 2/4, he was able to kill something and live. There were many times when he just played, getting some value, setting up future draws, etc., etc., etc. He was absolutely amazing, and he's just one of the best cards from set 3 as I have had experience with. Of course, Ahsoka Tano was really excellent as well with Force Throw and kind of setting up some of those things for us. Overall, the deck worked pretty well. We did have a winning record, but some of the decks weren't necessarily meta decks at all. So we'll have to see how good Quinlan truly is. We had some good experience and the combo did work. But again, you can kind of play this combo in a lot of different shells, like Anakin Yellow, for example, is an option. Now, if you're playing Anakin Yellow, you don't get Tarkin Town, and most of the time you're going to be playing a 30 HP base, but that might just be better because you have a more universally strong front side action and a universally strong leader on the flip side. R2-D2 with Anakin suddenly becomes a 4/4 on turn 1, which is pretty nice. Just keep that in mind, for example. You also get to play like Ahsoka Tano and stuff like that, which is cool with Anakin as your leader. But just to give you an idea, I think that Quinlan Red is solid. I don't think it's a bad deck by any means, but it is not necessarily Quinlan really putting the pieces together and really making this deck what it is. It is the core of yellow and red heroism combining together to make a solid archetype here in this spot. So thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you all for the next one.